know when we're live. Right, should be live anytime now. Give me a thumbs up or whatever in chat whenever we're live. Hey, there we go. Right. Everyone let me know if the audio's working fine. Is the music too loud? Can you hear me on the mic? Everything all good? Give me a thumbs up once I know. What did everyone think then? Tears of the Kingdom, proper trailer 2. Got some decent amount of footage here. We got so much to talk about. Right, sounds good, sounds good. Music a little loud. Music a little loud, that's no worries. Right, try that. Let me know if that's all good. Right, so what do we all think? So I've got the trailer here, and I don't really have a plan for this stream. Basically, let's just run through the trailer. Let's zoom in on all the little things there are to zoom in on, and I thought, because there's so much to break down, right? There's so much new stuff to talk about, and stuff that affects things we already knew. Like, we've got different shots now of Ganondorf waking up underground, Zelda falling, and it seems that it's Link that catches her now, whereas in earlier trailers we had, all the way back here, we had this strange green hand catching Link. So, you know, who knows what that means. Track name. This is Twilight Princess. This is Courage, I believe. Right. So let's go through the trailer from start to finish, and we'll stop and talk about anything interesting that we find. Let's bounce some ideas off chat. Reverse the audio at the end. Reverse the audio at the end of the trailer. Okay. No, let's stop that a sec. Reverse the audio at the end. Right. Okay.
Please, lend him your power.
What audio? There's... Oh, here, maybe. Okay, right, let's reverse this. Is this too quiet now? Because this should be the same volume as the music. I'll turn this up a little bit. Right, so this is that same bit of audio but reversed. A couple of people in the chat said to reverse it.
Seal.
Okay.
Lend him.
I don't hear anything that stands out particularly. Let me know if anyone caught anything. Although it is very obviously, it's the same as the music here. No. Where is it? Here. Because this trailer uses pretty much the same music as the second trailer we got of Tears of the Kingdom. Right, what are people saying? It's the King's story from Breath of the Wild. Just sounds like reverse chanting. Exactly, yeah. Slow it down. Okay, right. Let's start at the beginning of the trailer. Now we've got 1,500 people in here. Thank you all for coming in. Let's run through the trailer and point out anything interesting. So, where's our chill Zelda music gone? There we go. Right. So, starting off with rain. Looking up to the clouds, and obviously no sky islands visible, which is interesting in itself. Lightning. And here we open up on Hyrule. We can see Death Mountain over here in the distance. And another one of these. Wait, this is, unfortunately, this is the best way I have to zoom in. because I use Sony Vegas for some reason. So this is the easiest way to zoom in. So we have one of these spinning green energy sources, which is that music's probably too loud now. Sorry. Music's a little loud. Right, got you. Sorry. Okay, so we've got this spinning green energy spiral here, which is exactly the same as in, I believe it was the last trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. We can spot the exact same thing down here. So there's these strange little rocks with a spiral of green energy, which obviously closely matches this that we saw in the first trailer. So these seem to be quite abundant now. There's a couple that appear later on in the newest trailer, which we'll go through. We'll go through in a second. But we've got one here, which is interesting. From a glance, I can't tell whereabouts in Hyrule it is, although obviously there's Death Mountain in the distance, which has the new weird Malice top. Cyclone like the Minish Cap. Potentially. Like, in the Minish Cap, you also travel to islands on the clouds. And to do that, you get to the top of Vale Falls, which is the biggest waterfall in Hyrule. And a cyclone takes you up to the top. Where, interestingly, Link is only able to walk on the clouds in the Minish Cap because he's pure of heart. Which is something that Breath of the Wild mentions a few times with things like why Link is able to see Koroks, why he's able to see dragons, and apparently it's all to do with being pure of heart, which is somewhat interesting now that we're moving back to the skies in this. Right, okay, so we get this shot here. There's another green spiral in the distance, so we've got two of them. Music is too high. It's still too high. Really sorry, right. Save stream. Yeah. Oh, I'll save this stream afterwards, yeah. Music too loud. Okay. Music is fine. Right, okay. Thank you all to everyone with the super chats. I'll find a way to run through them in a minute. But let's get through some of this analysis. So, first shot, Hyrule. Here we have three of these new... I don't know how to describe them. They're just kind of flying... They look quite reptilian. These new flying enemies. There's three of them. We got a glimpse of them in the last trailer here. You see where Link ascends to the skies in the last trailer. One of these enemies flies in front of the camera. Just here in the distance. So here, we've got a better view of these. And yeah, they're a new enemy. I mean, they're similar to old Zelda enemies like the Kargarok, potentially. Or some kind of bigger form of the Keese or the Vaya, perhaps. But, you know, we won't know till the game comes out what they are. Okay, right. Here's another shot of Hyrule. And this is interesting. This is one of the new things we've got here is these new towers. So again, we managed to see one of these in the last trailer, but it was very hard to make out. But here we can see it glows from the bottom. You see light coming out the bottom. And it also glows on the inside orange, which makes me think of Sheikah Tech, which is curiously missing from most of what we've seen of Tears of the Kingdom. A lot of people saying Mothula. Okay, yeah, it's Mothula as a boss from A Link to the Past. It could be quite similar. They look like Arialfos. Okay, yeah, could be Arialfos, which is an enemy from Twilight Princess. Could the towers be entrances to the underground now? That's interesting, because later on in this trailer, we see a shot of what could be the underground, which we'll have a look at in a minute. But either way, we've got these new towers. Alright, let's just see them out. Okay. Here's a shot from up on a sky island. Again, difficult to see whereabouts in Hyrule this is. Might be possible to map it out to where it is in Hyrule, but either way. What about the reverse audio? We'll be looking at the reverse audio when we get to the end of the trailer, because I've had a few people say you can reverse it, but then I couldn't really see anything myself. What are people saying? With the mining in Thundara, it looks like souls on the right side. Yes. So that's down here. So when I first saw this, I thought it was the underground, but it's really difficult to see. What we can see is a few enemies mining something. They've got their little platform down here. And this... Ah, okay. Yeah, so... Someone here has just pointed out that over here on the right, we've got these. Which look like little blue flames, which someone in the chat just pointed out could be souls. This is exactly how souls are usually represented in Zelda, like with the spirits of the champions in King Rome. They're always surrounded by this blue fire. And it's similar to other things we see in Twilight Princess as well. There's a lot of Twilight Princess stuff, I agree, yeah. Okay, so what else have we got going on here? It's difficult to see. It does make me think it's underground just because it's so dark. And it looks like over in the distance here is a cave wall. Although we'll have to look closer in more detail. Destroyed Lost Forest. It could be. It could be this could be the Lost Woods if it's cut down or something. What's the swirly tree? Yeah, who knows? That's really fascinating. So in the distance here we have this strange, looks like it's a glowing tree. Here. Yeah. Who knows? Do we see that later on in the trailer, or is that just here? Okay, so in the middle there's some sort of ruins. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Right. It could be the bottom of one of the towers. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. So then if this is the underground, that'd give Link a way to travel between the surface and the underground. Yeah, definitely could be possible. Right, and here we go. Now, this one stood out to me when I first saw the trailer. So, this is obviously the Great Bridge of Hylia, over Lake Hylia. And the bridge itself doesn't look too different. Hyrule Castle and Death Mountain in the distance obviously do. But the most interesting thing here is what we can see here on the right. So it's a dragon with 3 heads, which obviously calls back to Gleeok, who was a boss in Zelda 1. As a multi-headed dragon boss who works kind of like a Hydra in traditional fantasy things where you have to cut off all 3 heads and it regrows them. But here you go. So that it could well be Gleeok. Gleeok could return as a kind of overworld boss, similar to how the Hinox did, and the Lionel, even though it wasn't actually a boss, was strictly a 2D Zelda game enemy, unless you count A Link Between Worlds, but still, it was an enemy that purely featured in 2D games, and they completely reimagined it for Breath of the Wild with a whole new set of attacks and a new design. So this could well be Gleeok reimagined for Tears of the Kingdom, which is just so exciting. If they're reimagining old school Zelda enemies like Gleeok, then who knows what else they could do. Right, I lost it when Hylia was finally revealed. Did we see Hylia? What did we see that was similar to Hylia? Right, so there's Gleeok. Am I still zoomed in? Oh, here you go. Right. What are people saying in the chat? Redeads are back. Redeads are back. I've got a couple people saying Redeads. Alright. Well, let's keep combing through the trailer and see if we can spot any Redeads, shall we? Right, so here we have Hateno Village. And first off, we've got another one of these green spiral things. Now, this part of the trailer coincides with what is probably Ganondorf's voice actor. Here you go. Rise, rise, my servants. Sweep over Hyrule. Eliminate this kingdom and her allies. Right. So considering this shot is coinciding with Ganondorf ordering his minions to sweep over Hyrule and burn it all down, perhaps could mean that these little green spirals have something to do with spawning new enemies or some connection there. But either way, it's probably not going to be a good time to be a Hateno Village citizen when Ganondorf's plan happens, whatever it is. Right, next up we've got Link and the Blood Moon, which there we go. We see a couple shots of here. Obviously played a huge role in Breath of the Wild to reset the count of enemies in the world. So every certain amount of days, or if the system itself got a little bit overloaded, Breath of the Wild would trigger a Blood Moon, which of course everyone already knows. That's when Ganondorf's minions all come back to life. So the game explains it as some sort of like a surge in Ganon's power, because in Breath of the Wild, Calamity Ganon is imprisoned by Zelda. He's still in his cocoon in Hyrule Castle. So whenever we get a Blood Moon, that's Ganondorf's power surging out and Zelda struggling to contain it. So the fact that the Blood Moon's back here, I mean, we don't know exactly what it means for the game and the story, but it can't be good. It's a sign that Ganondorf's power is at a peak. There is a skull in the moon. I can sort of see it a little bit. If you try, potentially. So I've got a commenter saying there's a skull in the moon, which you can sort of see, yeah, but I don't know if that's just looking into it. What do you think Ganon will actually look like? Well, we see him later on in the trailer, but again, he's emaciated. He's like a mummy. Eye lower left. Eye lower left. How do you mean eye lower left? Is this about the skull? So excited for Fat Moblins. Yeah, we see that. Moon looks like it has Sheikah markings. Guys, I think it was King Rome's voice. Okay. Right, let's keep going. So we get the Blood Moon, and you get the little malice particles happening, so just like it did in Breath of the Wild when the Blood Moon happened. Here we get a shot of Hyrule Castle under the Blood Moon. And here, right, this is interesting. So this is just after who we assume is Ganondorf, but you know, it could be anyone else. Some people saying it might be the King of Hyrule. Obviously, I think Ganondorf makes the most sense. Right, yeah, it's literally just the moon, yeah. So Ganondorf's voice makes the most sense, and just after he orders his minions to sweep over Hyrule and burn it all down, we get this. We get these little globs of malice seem to be launched away from the moon, but judging by that arc, it doesn't seem that they come from the moon itself. They seem to be thrown from something just below the moon around here. But this is obviously very similar to the blobs of malice that Ganon threw forward when he took over the Divine Beasts in the cutscene in Breath of the Wild. So this is obviously Ganondorf sending forth something else, some kind of portions of his power. Okay, oh, right. Okay, we can see the bottom here, and we can make out the walls of the Great Plateau here. So whatever's happening here seems to be happening on the Great Plateau. And in the distance there's another one of those mysterious green spirals. Astor, people saying Astor. So Astor was the prophet from Age of Calamity who kind of helped orchestrate Ganon's scheme in that game. Potentially he'll appear in this, who knows. Maybe the green things are a way to get to the floating islands. I agree, yes. They could well be. Green spirals are how you get to the sky, or fast travel, since I don't believe you'll be able to use the Sheikah Slate. Yeah, I don't think there will be a Sheikah Slate in this game, or if there is, doesn't seem that Link will be able to use it at the very least. Right, so this next shot could potentially be what happens when one of these red malice globs hit the floor, although we don't know that for sure. You see it explodes into white. It's very hard to see what's in there in the middle. We can see what could be tentacles or long arms inside the explosion, but it's really difficult to see. Yeah, who knows what that is. It could be that this is these little globs of malice contain enemies, and by spewing them out when they hit the ground, enemies spawn. But we're not sure. Maybe it's the Gleeok again. It could be, yeah, it could well be. There's 1, 2, 3. It looks like there's 4 of these kind of spindly arms with little claws on it. So it could be Gleok, or it could be something else. Looks like Demise. Can't quite see Demise. But who knows. Right. Then what have we got here? Okay, that's really hard to see. So it looks like so it looks similar to an Igneo Talus, just an enemy from Breath of the Wild, the fire versions of the Stone Talus, but its shape is completely different. It's just the texture that looks the same. So perhaps this is a kind of new, bigger, fire, rock-themed boss, or it could just be a bit of the mountain itself falling. Yeah, that's difficult to work out. Death Mountain breaking apart, yeah. Well, we see, obviously, Death Mountain's now got this malice spewing out the top, so wouldn't surprise me if we saw a cutscene where Death Mountain crumbled. Yeah, Death Mountain lift off. An island is forming. Okay, yeah. I can see that being what's happening. Right. Oh, thank you so much to the super chats. Like I said, I'll run through them. I'll run through them in a minute. Yeah, thank you all, everyone, so much for donating. Right. So, here we have a shot of Hyrule Castle levitating, which is the exact same from a couple of trailers ago. It's pretty much exactly the same shot as here. It's the same tower falling on, the same tower falling off. So this is, you know, presumably something to do with what Ganon's doing. He's lifting Hyrule Castle for some reason. So we see that move up, and here we get a shot of the Great Plateau. Over here we can see the Temple of Time, and there's the walls of the Great Plateau. And again, it looks like a blood moon, like we saw earlier on in the trailer, because there's a lot of stuff going on with Ganondorf, and his power seems to be surging even more than it was in Breath of the Wild here. And in the distance, right here, I'm pretty sure I'm streaming my mouse. I'm sure I'm streaming my mouse. Over here in the distance, we can see a glowing thing on the hill, which we saw in the last trailer, which is a glowing symbol, very similar in design to the mysterious character who appears in the carvings here, which we'll look into more later. But still, that's very interesting that we can see it here. Okay, right. So, in Breath of the Wild, when a blood moon happens, bokoblins, moblins, everything that Link has killed, they all reappear, and they sort of materialize out of globs of malice, and then they drop to the floor like puppets that are suddenly being animated, just like here. We see these 4 bokoblins, and they're hanging in the air just like they're puppets on strings, and then one by one they seem to be dropping down and you know, gaining control of their bodies, which seems to coincide with this malice hitting them, which is very interesting. Oh, no, okay. See, the malice hitting them, the malice isn't hitting them, sorry. The malice seems to be dropping new bokoblins in the distance. You see, we can see a bokoblin's face here in this glob of malice, and then it's a bokoblin drops out of the glob of malice just after that. Right, okay, so that's what these globs are. They do seem to be spawning enemies. Yeah. The other obviously notable thing here is the bokoblin's horns are weird. So they're not like Breath of the Wild's bokoblin horns, and they're not like the horns we saw in previous trailers either. This one looks basically just like a blade. It's like a serrated edge on the horn, which is really interesting. So that's a few different types of horns that we know we'll get. I wonder if it denotes different classes of bokoblins, similar to how Colours did in Breath of the Wild. Looks like there's a war going on in this game. It does look like there's a war. It's a redead next to the Lizalfos. Okay. Did you mean back here, or? Let's keep going. Let's keep looking at enemies. Right. So here we've got a few new different enemies. So the most obvious is this big thing on the right here, which looks sort of like a Hinox. But it looks smaller than a Hinox to me. Seems to have a kind of a crown of horns on its head. It's definitely related to the bokoblins, to the moblins, everything like that, because it is pig themed. You can see it's got a pig snout. And a skull necklace, similar to moblins in the Wind Waker, which is interesting. There's a bokoblin there on the left, a blue bokoblin, which has, again, a completely different horn to the bokoblins here. These all seem to have single horns that are serrated like blades. And then here, this one's got a two-pronged horn. So yeah, there's all sorts of different types of bokoblin horns here. That could be a bulblin. That's a good shout. It could well be a bulblin. A bulblin was a sort of pseudo bokoblin thing that we saw in Twilight Princess mainly, including King Bulblin, who was one of the game's main bosses. And here's what most people seem to be talking about. In front of the camera, facing away from us annoyingly, there's something that definitely looks... It's a Okay, I didn't see that. Oh, that is a Redead. Yes, I'm sure that's a Redead. So yeah, it's got these skeletal arms. Yeah, and what definitely looks like a mask. And it leans back and roars. Yeah, I'm sure that's a Redead. What chat's saying? Redeads, that's a Redead. Redead's return. Yes, he sees it. Yeah, sorry it took me so long. We're gonna comb through the trailer from start to finish, so I might miss some things that are towards the end. But yeah, that's absolutely a Redead. Yeah. So it's hard to see anything else about it. So it's got... Yeah, so its mask seems to be made of... its mask seems more natural than the mask in Ocarina of Time, which was a kind of wooden mask with carved eye holes. It looks like this seems to be organic or more part of the Redead than other masks we've seen. Although it's hard to tell here. But yeah, I'm sure that's a Redead. And it doesn't seem to just be appearing underground or in caves or dungeons. This shot seems to be outside. We can't really tell where. But yeah, it seems we'll get new enemies like Redeads in the overworld. It's like cloth, more fleshy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a wooden mask. Right, okay. Let's keep going. Right, so here we've got Link riding through Hyrule. There's Hyrule Castle in the distance, floating like we've seen it. And further on in the back, we've got this. We've got this this cyclone, which is what people were saying earlier on. It could be a way to get up to the Sky Islands, or it could be an obstacle preventing Link from getting to some Sky Islands. Yeah, so that seems to be over towards the Hebra region, kind of not far from Rito Village. Which is interesting because the Rito are obviously wind-themed, so it is interesting that there's a wind-themed environmental thing, something happening there. Right, so here we have... It seems to be over towards Gerudo, perhaps. Yeah, perhaps near the labyrinth over in the Gerudo region, that kind of area, although it's hard to see. We see something wriggling in the sand, whether that's Molduga or a horde of things kind of kicking up dust as they move. It's very hard to see. Isn't it the thing from the other trailer? eShop page has new pictures. Okay, right. eShop page has new pictures. Okay, we'll check them out in a minute. Thank you. Okay, so we get this, whatever these things are moving in the desert. Then here, we've got Link. So Link standing in something that's obviously Sheikah, which is interesting in itself. Because we haven't seen, we've always seen no Sheikah. Sheikah tech in this Tears of the Kingdom. Right, so he stands in the center of a pedestal. And then little guardian arms all come out to meet him. And Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like an enemy. It looks like this is friendly. Perhaps this is kind of an upgrade system or something like that, or something to do with the building, which we saw later on. It could be some kind of elevator, yeah, as the chat's saying. Top of the tower from the beginning, okay, yeah, it could well be. Yep, we saw the towers right in the beginning glowing orange here, which obviously shouts Sheikah. So then, yeah, it would make sense if this was one of the top of the towers. From the edge here, we can see basically nothing, but it is just grey, which makes me think it could be open air, and we could be quite high up in this shot. We do see Sheikah runes on the floor, which obviously in Breath of the Wild you can just translate to English. So we could have a look at translating them, see what they say. Let's move on, and we'll come back to that and translate what that says. Okay, so another shot of enemies. Again, it's the two-pronged horned blue bokoblins, and one of these giant, bigger enemies that is definitely smaller than Hinox, which you see here in the next shot. But certainly bigger than bokoblins and moblins. So yeah, it could be a bulblin. It could be some other kind of blin. Yeah, who knows? Right, okay. So here we get Link in a cave, which is something that people have been shouting about ever since the first trailer, is that we'll be able to explore the caves under Hyrule. And it seems like we will be able to. Here we get a Hinox chasing Link, which looks pretty much identical to Breath of the Wild, except he's got something strange on his head. Again, there's something weird going on with the horns of all the enemies. This one doesn't seem to have a horn. It kind of just looks like a wooden post instead of a horn there, which is interesting. But also, around its neck, which is where Hinox in Breath of the Wild held objects of interest, like most of them had Sheikah orbs around their neck that you'd have to either steal off them or kill the Hinox to take the orb and access a shrine or something. This one's got a glowing green orb, so we'll want that. We'll want to get that off the Hinox, but we're not sure what for. What are people saying? Is that a time shift stone? It could potentially be, although they usually glow more blue. Seems like the weapon strapped to his head. People are pointing out no enemies seem to hold weapons at all in these trailers. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you to KatieBug1011, who says that the Sheikah here, on the floor here, apparently, Transport. Yeah, it checks out. Apparently this translates to transport. So whether that means it is an elevator or it teleports Link somewhere else, whatever this is, there is some sort of transporter. Okay, so we know that. So we get the Hinox shot. And now we get this, right. So this is a big money shot. We get Link running and diving off the edge on the same paraglider we saw back in the E3 2021 trailer. So not the new glider we got last trailer, but it seems like the Breath of the Wild glider just with streamers on it. And here we go, and he's gliding over Hyrule. He's not far from the Tabantha Canyon, you know, the Forgotten Temple, kind of near Rito Village. I believe this mountain that we can see here would be Satori Mountain, and we're looking southeast over towards Faron region over here. Except for the islands in the sky, there aren't many new things we can notice here. There's a very strange shaped island up here that's just exactly... It's a box, it's a flying box, which is interesting. Although later on in the trailer we do see some more curiously shaped flying islands. And here we go. Right. So here's another shot of Link riding on a horse past Hyrule Castle. The grass looks really different here. I've never seen Breath of the Wild's grass look like that. So whether that's just the new weather or... I don't know, but... yeah, other than that, we can't tell much from this shot. I'm curious what that is in the distance. Not that. This. No, it doesn't move. That's just a rock. So yeah, we can't really get anything from here. Yeah, just Link running past the castle. What are people saying? Is the frame rate going to tank with this? There's markings on the grass. Oh, right. That's the hieroglyph. Okay, I see. Right, okay. As I pointed out in the Great Plateau shot, where was that? There are these sort of hieroglyphics that are projected onto the floor. And in this shot here... sorry, here you go. Although we're too close to see what it is, this is another one of those hieroglyphs projected onto the surface of Hyrule. So obviously, it's something that we'll only really be able to see from the air. Although I think we might get a better shot of this area later on in the trailer. Someone's saying that's a statue of Hylia in the background. Okay, another shot of Hyrule and more shots of these new flying enemies. This time, carrying bokoblins, which is a lovely little callback to the Wind Waker, where you got Kargaroks who would carry in enemies like moblins. Like one of the first mini-boss in Dragon Breeze Cavern, actually, is moblins delivered by airmail to you. So it's cool that they're here. This bokoblin here seems to be wielding a really crude stone axe, which is obviously very different to any of the bokoblin enemies we saw. Bokoblin weapons we saw in Breath of the Wild. Yep, is a bokoblin holding an axe. Yep, Boko axe. One of the claws is holding a tablet-like object. What does that mean? What claws? You mean the flying enemy's claws, or? Not sure. Arialphos. That's a Via. Okay, yeah. The claws in the tower. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, so here, this Sheikah arm is carrying, it looks like a spool of wire, or, yeah, it definitely looks like a cable. So yeah, I don't really know what to make of that, but yeah, we'll see. Perhaps that links with something else we can see in the trailer later on. People saying it looks like a scroll. It could be a scroll. To me, it looks a little bit more like a spool of wire, but you know, we'll try and get a better look in a bit. Okay, right. Link fighting a group of moblins in Hyrule. There's Mount Lanayru in the distance, so we can kind of pinpoint whereabouts on the map this is. So the moblins have these weird kind of spherical horns that we saw in the E3 2021 trailer. Sorry, at least the red one does. The blue one has two horns, kind of like a bison or yeah, some kind of bull or something like that. That's really interesting. And is there anything else in this shot? Okay, right. So in the background here, there's what looks like one of the bokoblin skull camps from Breath of the Wild. Although this one has a nose. You can see here, there's the nose of it, and there's the eye socket. So this one seems like a way bigger version of the Breath of the Wild skull camps. You see it's got a wooden platform around the top as well, which is really interesting. What people saying? It looks like it's built into the terrain. It does, yeah. Cave entrance. It could well be a cave entrance, yeah. Sleepy Kitten, this is Fee's Farewell from Skyward Sword. Bird says Zelda Japan Twitter is posting new details. Let me have a look in a second. Right. Let's press on with the trailer quickly, and then we'll have a look at whatever new details are coming out. Okay, so we have this. Right. So here's a weird one. So we've got Link on a sky island, and he's fighting something. It seems to be a figure made out of boxes, which is really weird. So the box in the design obviously has callbacks to the Zonai architecture and all of this ancient architecture we've been seeing in Tears of the Kingdom. So it's got this strange green glow. yeah, oh, and it's connected, just like in the E3 2021 trailer, which is here, where we saw... No, sorry, that's the wrong trailer. Here, where we saw this golem, which you see is connected by this green magic. Seems to be the exact same thing with whatever this thing is. You see, it seems to be powered by a kind of skeleton made of this green magic. And also this section here glows green, which makes me think it's a weak spot. Perhaps that's how we take it down. We should link these to target those areas, and yeah, perhaps that's the way to destroy it. What are people saying? Is that a Zonai swirl? Yeah. Similar, yeah. Do you think Zelda will die in the last show? Not sure what you mean by last show. If you mean Zelda die in this game, I could see it happening. Yeah, I don't know. We don't really know anything about Zelda's story in this. Link's belt. Yeah, so... Okay, yeah, we can see on Link's hip, he's got this strange little collection of vials that we've been seeing in a few trailers now. So yeah, very interesting. People saying hook shot. I'm not sure. Link only uses a rusty sword in this trailer. Yeah, that definitely looks like a rusty sword there. Perhaps this is early game footage. Right, and now here he is. For the first time properly since the first trailer, we get to see Ganondorf. We got a tiny glimpse of him in the E3 2021 trailer. Where is it? There you go. So he flashes up for a split second in this trailer. But other than that, this is the first we've seen him since the E3 2019, the first trailer for this game. We're finally seeing Ganondorf again. So, appearance-wise, he looks pretty much the same as he did in E3 2019. Although the hole that we noticed he had in his chest is a lot more prominent here. And as he moves, he seems to be waking up or breaking out of some kind of restraints here. Here we have a shot of the gates outside Hyrule Castle, which obviously is floating with Ganon's malice. People saying, is he a Redead? I mean, yeah, but potentially there's a crossover there if Redeads are appearing. He could use some moisturizer. That he could, yeah. Right, okay. And here we get a full shot of Ganondorf, and he's properly standing up here. And he's standing on some kind of pedestal made out of stone. Now, the stone doesn't show many marking. There's not much detail, sorry, to the stone. It's all the same grey colour. Although there are these shapes in darker grey here, which do seem to match quite closely to the shapes we can see on the Sky Islands. If I pull up, where's best to show it off? Yeah, here. Yeah. So we've got similar glyphs here, which could be what we're seeing here. But either way, we don't know for sure. But either way, this is Ganondorf working some kind of bad magic. The spool from the Sheikah arms looks like a hook shot. Okay, that's what people are saying about hook shot. They think, where is it? Yeah, this could be the hook shot. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I could see it working that way. Hook shot was something they wanted to include in Breath of the Wild, but it just didn't mesh with the game. Celtic, he looks like Demise. He does look like Demise. I think the long red hair is definitely some kind of callback to Demise, because we haven't canonically seen Ganondorf with hair like that. Obviously, he did in Hyrule Warriors. But we've never seen Ganondorf look like this in an actual canonical Zelda game. And considering there's all these connections to the ancient past, and there's the Ouroboros symbol of kind of time repeating itself, perhaps the callback to Demise is deliberate. Can't wait for the machine building. Yeah. And there's another shot there of Ganondorf's eyes, which is almost identical to a shot from the very first trailer. Which, we can see the malice burning in his eyes there. Right. Here we have Link standing presumably atop a sky island and looking out over Hyrule. Right. Let's have a zoom in here, see if we can notice anything. Okay, so we see Hyrule Castle. Small groups of sky islands dotted around. This one here, interestingly, has a little, what looks like a cable connecting these two. And we see later on in the trailer that Link will be able to use these cables and kind of surf down them. So that'll be a way to move between sky islands. We saw this group of sky islands in the previous trailer. It's basically it's sort of a ladder going up that we assume Link will have to climb. And earlier on, I noted that there was that weird cube sky island, which we can see here, which looks really weird. So I don't know what that is, but yeah, that's just a floating cube. A Borg cube, yeah, it could be a Borg cube from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Big sky block, yeah. Where is the dark area? What does that mean? Twilight Princess Beyblade is back. Yeah, we could see something like the spinner. Yeah. Cube is above the maze. Oh, okay. Right. I didn't see that. You'd think... So what they seem to be pointing out is that it's above one of the Zonai mazes. It's hard to tell from this shot. It looks a little too close to be above a Zonai maze here. Minecraft, it could just be a Minecraft reference. Yeah, that could be all that is. A 3D maze, yeah, could well be. Right, let's move on. So here we have another shot of Link skydiving. We got another clear view of these vials on his hip. He's diving down. Get a great look at the sky islands above, which there's all sorts of weird geometry going on here. This sky island over here is curved round. Yeah. Very strange. And yeah, in the distance there, there's these, which these are very weird. Let's try and get a zoom in on this. Yeah, over here in the distance, there's really thin. Yeah, it's oh, you know what they could be? That could just be water from waterfalls. We see in the official artwork and a few other times that there's waterfalls running off the sky island, so it could just be that. The vials look like when in Skyward Sword you go to the Trials with the Tears. Yeah, so the collection of vials on his hip could be somewhat similar to in Twilight Princess and in Skyward Sword, where both games have little fetch quest sequences where you have to collect sacred tears of one sort or another. And this does look very similar to both vessels, the Vessel of Light from Twilight Princess and I think it's called the Spirit Vessel from Skyward Sword. Either way, it could be that Link has to fill these vials by collecting, you know, the Tears of the Kingdom or whatever kind of other MacGuffins that he'll be collecting across Hyrule. Because I think thematically putting this in the exact same spot on Link that the Sheikah Slate was in Breath of the Wild definitely makes me think that there's that this will play as important a role in Tears of the Kingdom as the Sheikah Slate did in Breath of the Wild. Here we could almost get a look at the top. Really hard to see any details there. It does look quite similar to the kind of the Zonai dragons and ancient ruins. So there's probably a connection there. Right, it's more of Link skydiving. And another shot of Hyrule. Over here in the distance we can see one of these new towers. There's a kind of spot of malice here, a pool of malice. Which, who knows? There's probably some more secrets we can tease out of this if we adjust the contrast and stuff, but we'll come back to that later. Right. But what we're seeing here, though, is we're seeing there's no loading screens between the Sky Islands and Hyrule down below. Or at least it doesn't seem like there are. So we have link diving here. Sorry about the zooming. Right, link diving. Still in the sky. You can see everything's very blue tinted. But he continues to fall, continues to fall. You see everything starts to clear up here. So he will be able to just run and jump off Sky Islands and just glide down into Hyrule seamlessly. Or so it seems, which is amazing. What are people saying now? What stream editor are you using? This is just Sony Vegas with OBS to stream it. People saying there's a hole in the world. What do you mean there's a hole in the world? Where did all the shrines go? Yeah, that's a good question. Right, so here, you see on this plane of grass here, we get one of these hieroglyphics superimposed over the grass. Which is what I was mentioning earlier when I said the grass looks different, and chat pointed out that that was this. So that's why you get those weird light sections in the grass, is that there's these hieroglyphs projected, which obviously will only really be able to be appreciated from the sky. Which also calls back to a lot of, real world ancient glyphs that people used to make in the sand or in the carve into mountains and stuff that only really could be appreciated from planes and helicopters, which is a interesting mystery. And with all the callbacks to ancient civilizations in Tears of the Kingdom, like the Mesopotamian architecture, potential ancient early world languages for the hieroglyphics we've got, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this was somewhat inspired by more real world ancient structures. Okay, there's a bird flying above there, but it just seems like a regular bird to me. It doesn't seem like one of the new bird enemies. In the distance here on the left, we can see another one of these new towers, but again, it's slightly too far to make out any detail. Down here, though, is a rock covered in little platforms, which could be the full version of the new skull base we saw, the skull with the nose. It could well be that that we're looking at the full version here. Yeah, enemy camp. Yeah, definitely. All right, let's keep going. So we just have Link running along the cliff. Right, okay. So here we have Link fighting one of these new enemies, whether it's a Via or a Kargarok or whatever. We've got him fighting it with a bow and arrow, but as you can see, there's something different about it. Bow and arrow seems to be, again, harnessing this strange green energy. And it's a really weird arrow. It seems to be a homing shot. So the head of the arrow is really strange. The head of the arrow is this huge kind of beige sphere. But as soon as Link releases it, it fires straight forward for a second, then immediately veers off and hits the enemy. And not only did it hit it, but it hits it with a critical hit. So presumably that's a headshot. So yeah, homing arrows seem to be one of the new items. And yeah, up there in the sky we can see this big floating cube. Right, and here we have Link Link grinding down these new rails. Although this one doesn't seem to be in a sky island. This seems to be Death Mountain. Yeah. And we see Link grinding down one of these kind of minecart rails things, but he's just doing it on his shield, like shield surfing in Breath of the Wild. He seems to be able to just grind on these new steel pathways. We see another two-pronged blue bokoblin, a red moblin in the distance, and it seems like there's another mining operation going on here. So we saw enemies mining right at the start of the trailer in the bit that we thought was underground, and here we have what looks like more of a mine of a strange rock that's got a pink vein running through it, which obviously makes me think of malice. And with Death Mountain's state in Tears of the Kingdom, the way it's erupting malice, who knows what this could be. There might be a way to kind of harness the malice from Death Mountain. Could this be luminous stones? Potentially. We've seen some luminous stones before in Tears of the Kingdom. evil crystal ore. Yeah, it could be related to evil crystals, which is something we saw in Skyward Sword. Right, and now here we have another shot on the Sky Islands, where Link uses his new hand, which appears to be a substitute for the Sheikah Slate. Appears to have similar abilities like runes. So he controls a gyro, which everyone will be so happy that that's returning from Breath of the Wild. I know everyone loved gyro controls, so glad to see that's back. So he uses his hand to move this small control, and then the motion is mirrored by this big portion of Sky Island in the back. So, and obviously we can see Death Mountain in the distance. So what I get from this is a lot of people, when the Sky Islands were first revealed, assumed that since we see no shrines at all, assumed that the Sky Islands would take the role of the shrines on, which completely makes sense. And if you think about it, the shrines are Link enclosed in a very small box. So although Breath of the Wild's all about open exploration, the boxes of the shrines force him into little platform challenges and force him to play by the shrine's rules. And you can get a similar effect by using Sky Islands. Because obviously he can jump off them whenever he wants and glide down to Hyrule. But the Sky Islands will limit his movement to where the Sky Islands want you to go. And with this gyro section, which seems to be, he seems to be moving this to create a pathway, or perhaps potentially access a new area of Sky Islands, makes me think that that this seems a lot like a shrine to me. So perhaps we're looking at some sort of dungeon, or whatever Tears of the Kingdom will be replacing shrines with. Yep, same shape. Yeah, I hope the Sky Islands are more than puzzles. I mean, we've seen earlier on, we saw Link fighting that big golem made of boxes. So they definitely won't just be they won't just be puzzles. They'll definitely be combat stuff as well. That's interesting. Okay. On the right of this shot, okay, so obviously we can see that these aren't the same glyphs that we've been looking at previously. I don't think these will be translatable, but still there's some interesting charactering going on there. But also down here there's a little jar hanging from a string, which either confirms Korok seeds are coming back, which I'm not gonna go down that route. I don't think that's what this is. It looks to me like in Breath of the Wild there were jars of flammable liquid that were suspended by little ropes, and you could shoot them down by cutting the rope and burn whatever's below them. So I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I don't think it's a Korok puzzle, although, you know, maybe, who knows. Maybe there are thousands in this game. Okay. Right, and now here we get a shot underground, which further confirms that we will be able to explore underground, and it won't just be relegated to cutscenes like we saw in E3 2019. So we get Link and a luminous stone talus, and there's more luminous stones in the background, but it's definitely underground. We can see stalactites hanging from the ceiling. But what I think's the most interesting is what Link has here. So he's got a new weapon. It's a two-handed weapon, and obviously, if we zoom into it, obviously the design is very Zonai, just like the dragon head flamethrower that he had in a previous trailer. It's another Zonai weapon. It's got more of these strange runes here. We don't quite know what they mean, but we haven't properly looked into it with all the information we got on the new trailer, so perhaps we'll be able to translate them. But yeah, it's definitely some kind of Zonai weapon. It's a two-handed weapon, and when Link attacks with it, he does a flip, and it throws what's presumably an ice element. Oh, well, okay, maybe not ice. I don't know. It throws a kind of bomb, which is great. That is such a cool new projectile weapon. It makes me think that he will be able to use this in close combat, because he's wielding it like a two-handed weapon. But perhaps if you use the jump attack, it is when it'll use this projectile attack. Right, and now here we get something interesting. So, Who's this? So we see a new character. We don't see her face. She's wearing a dress, which, you know, is very Zelda. What are people saying? Hylia? Ah, Point Crow. Thank you for coming in. Nice to see you here. Yeah, people saying Zelda or Hylia. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, it's very possible that could be Hylia. They're deliberately obscuring her face. Because previously from in Tears of the Kingdom, we have seen this strange character. And I, among many other people, have theorized that this could be some strange depiction of Hylia. Because we've never actually seen her appear in game. We've only ever had messages relayed to us from the distant past or whatever. We've never seen her physical form. We've only seen artwork of it or things like that. So potentially, this could be a sort of Hylia's true form. But then we get this. Yeah, we can't really work anything out from the background either. It's very monotone. I don't know. Yeah. The symbols made by her jewellery down her front are interesting. They do ring a bell. They do look like something we've seen before in Tears of the Kingdom. What are people saying? People saying fairy fountain. It could well be a fairy fountain. Looks very different to what the Great Fairies look like in Breath of the Wild. But yeah, it could be. It could be Faron. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, there's a huge number of possibilities this could be. Like people are pointing out, it could be Hylia, could be Zelda, could be a Great Fairy, could be another sort of sacred being. Like in Twilight Princess, we saw the legendary light spirits who all took on forms of animals. Skyward Sword had the dragons. Every Zelda game has their fair share of kind of new deities, all connected to the same religions and gods. So I don't know. I think we'll come back to this one later because I think I must have missed this when I first watched the trailer because that's really interesting. Whoever that is. And we see them holding hands with Link. Right, okay. We're getting somewhere now. So this is Link's new hand. Her hair is short, says... yeah, we don't see we don't see the hair all the way down her back. We do see it, so it could be short or... Yeah. So she holds hands with Link, which is... obviously very similar to something we saw right in the very start of Tears of the Kingdom. All the way back here, we saw this mysterious arm grab Link's hand. And now we've got Link holding hands with whoever this is. So whether there's a connection there or not is difficult to tell. What are people saying? YouTube down? I don't think YouTube's down. It could be someone else. It could be anyone else, yeah. Right, okay. Nearing the end now. Nearing the end. Then we'll look through... people said that on the Twitter there's been some more screenshots and stuff posted. We'll have a look at that. Okay. So Link holds his hand among the Sky Islands. Yeah. Don't think there's much more we can learn from this shot. And here's another example of the right arm acting a bit like a Sheikah Slate. Because this is very similar to the Magnesis rune from Breath of the Wild. He's pulling this object, which appears to be a wheel, out from the bog. He lifts it, it looks exactly like Magnesis here. And then we get this, which I think no one had this on their Tears of the Kingdom bingo cards. He presumably uses the wheel that he's pulled out of the bog to build a go-kart. So I don't think Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is what anyone had in mind with Tears of the Kingdom, but that might be what we've got. It does look like Link has built this. Like it seems to be just built out of a wooden shed, and then these really ancient Zonai-esque wheels. Yeah, so I really don't know what to make of it. So he's got there's this big crystal in the back, which obviously seems to serve as the power source. It's even got headlights. Then there's this green pipe system that connects all the wheels to the power source. Yeah, headlights, yeah. Zonai car, yeah. Exactly, no one had Zonai car on their bingo card. So yeah, to me, it looks like this will be able... it looks like Link will be able to build vehicles. Considering the fact he finds the wheel here, and then we get this ramshackle looking truck. We also get this. We also get a hot air balloon, which oh, and of course, yeah, later on we see another flying machine, but we'll get to that in a second. So you see this hot air balloon. We can't quite make out. Oh, we can see Link is in it. See Link standing there, so we'll definitely be able to fly in it. I don't really know what to make of this green thing in place of where you'd find the fire if this was a hot air balloon. I don't really know what to make of that. Yeah, very strange. But yeah, there's a hot air balloon. Let's keep going. What have we got now? And here we go. We've got this. So, just like the go-kart, it seems that we've got another flying vehicle. Again, seems to just be made out of some kind of, not rubble, but it seems to be bashed together. So we've got 4 of these propellers, these Zonai propellers, this kind of green stuff which seems to be acting like glue, and then he's just stuck these 4 propellers onto a slab of metal, which has created a flying machine, which is just brilliant. Green Goblin glider, yeah, exactly. So just like the car, I think it seems using this green energy and by scavenging vehicle parts across Hyrule. I did not see myself saying this now, but it seems that, yeah, vehicle building will be a big part of Tears of the Kingdom, which is just hilarious, but I'm all for that. Other than that, because we get a really good look at the Sky Islands here, including a mysterious, quite ominous looking spherical Sky Island, which is obviously very much like the cube Sky Island we saw earlier. Yeah, we could get a good look at that island there. There's not a huge amount else we can see here. Perhaps if we played around with the sharpness and the contrast, we'd find some more stuff. But yeah, it's just another look at the Sky Islands. So, okay, and then we get one final shot, I think, of Link riding across Hyrule with all the Sky Islands above. You can see a couple of these new towers in the distance again. And something falling from the Sky Islands here. So it's got this, surrounded by this green energy. And it seems some kind of boulder is falling from the sky. Obviously, in the last trailer, we saw Link, whereabouts is it? We saw Link reverse this momentum and let it carry him up to the clouds on a fallen boulder. So perhaps that's what we see in the first part of here. We're seeing them fall from the sky, and then Link will be able to reverse that. And there we go. We get the logo. There's something interesting there as well. Yeah. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, not sure what to make of that, but that's another, obviously that's something else that's fallen from the Sky Island, so we can see it's got this very angular design. It doesn't look like natural rock, but looks like the bottom of the Sky Islands. And some more of that, the strange green glow. And there we go, Tears of the Kingdom. Of course, yeah, it doesn't end there. So we get the Tears of the Kingdom logo. And then we get this, which parallels the E3 2019 footage, but we see so much more here. Okay, right, so to start, we've got Link here with the Master Sword in hand, but the Master Sword isn't completely ruined here, but we can see how damaged it is. It's covered in malice. which obviously wasn't like that in Breath of the Wild. But it also here isn't in the state that we see it in the logo, and we saw here in the delay announcement. We saw the Master Sword completely broken in half. So this obviously takes place before that. And we see Link facing off against Ganondorf, who's bent over backwards with malice spurting out of his chest. And the malice lunges towards Link, looking very similar to Princess Mononoke there. So it lunges towards Link. And yeah, then we get a cut. And do we get a cut? Oh, no. I think Link avoids it by running away. We see Link at this stage, so although it doesn't look like the Master Sword's broken at this stage, yeah, although it doesn't look like the Master Sword's broken here, we see Link's entire arm is very heavily damaged. He's holding it with his left arm, and it's all grey, and it's got these strange symbols on them. Which, coupled with the fact that the Master Sword is not broken but is covered in malice, makes me think that what we saw here in the E3 2021 trailer, where we saw Link with the Master Sword and the malice attacking his right arm, which here isn't damaged. Here it's covered in clothes, but we see malice attack it, and then we cut, and we don't see that again. So I think what we're seeing here could potentially take place after that, but before the Master Sword gets completely broken. So Link turns away from the column of malice coming towards him, drops the Master Sword, which says a lot about the state that it's in here. If most Zelda games are about gathering enough items to collect the Master Sword and proving his worth, and here he drops it, so it's saying something about the situation. Drops the Master Sword and dives to catch Zelda. Why is that cut into black? Oh, right. There you go, yeah. So he dives and catches Zelda, which, again, sorry to keep rewinding, but again, in the first trailer here, we see Link catching Zelda's hand here. So obviously we see Zelda fall when the ground crumbles beneath her. There you go. Zelda falls, and we see Link's hand catching Zelda's hand, and then the green arm catching Link. So that's catching Link's left arm there. And then here in the newest trailer, we have, again, Link's left arm is outstretched like that, so potentially the green hand could just be about to come and save Link, and we see Link diving towards catching Zelda. The only difference here, though, is Link's right arm here is already burned. It's already heavily damaged by malice, which it wasn't in the first trailer for the game. So either that's something that's changed, or perhaps the events here are slightly out of order. And then obviously, yeah, get the same release date, 12th of May. It's not been delayed. Tears of the Kingdom is still coming. So that's the trailer that's the first run through of the trailer, and there's a lot to talk about here, which is why I did this live stream instead of a classic analysis video, which I will still do. But I think there's so much to talk about and so much to break down. So I think let's bounce some ideas off chat. So what are we thinking? People still saying audio backwards. Okay, right. We had a look at the start of the stream and I couldn't see anything. But let's have a look. So people saying if you reverse the audio at the end. Let me turn this up slightly. I'll remember to turn that down. Okay, so from here, I assume. Is this the right part, I assume? Yeah. Okay. So we get it does sound like reverse audio here. Is this loud enough for everyone? Can everyone hear this? Wait, I'll turn it right up. Right. What are people thinking about that? Got to be said. It's the same audio from the 2021 trailer, which is here. I don't know. It sounds to me like the vocals are slightly different. This, dun 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 dun. dun that's obviously the same. Slow it down. All right, let's try slowing it down. Okay, I'm gonna turn it back up for you guys. Okay. Right, this is slowed right down. It's definitely a voice. And it does sound... It's definitely a voice, and it does sound like the same phrase repeated twice. It's like ambush or something along those lines. I keep hearing fudge, someone says. Yeah, it's something along those lines. But this is a problem that we've had since the first trailer, where it sounds like there's reversed audio, but it doesn't seem to make... pardon me. But it doesn't seem to make anything when you actually reverse it. It's not like Skyward Sword, where you could reverse the Ballad of the Goddess and get Zelda's Lullaby, for example. Sounds pretty much like the 2019 one. Yeah. Turn the pitch up. All right. I can try turning the pitch up on this. You think pitch up might give us something? Right. So this is probably the worst way to do this, is use Sony Vegas, but oh well. Pitch shift. There we go. Let's whack this up a bit. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I'm still not getting anything in particular here. It sounds a lot Zelda. Yeah, it could be Zelda. It could be Zelda singing, but again, we don't quite know what it means. Right. What are people saying? Epona being revived. Okay, yeah. Epona. Why? Right. Okay. Well, a few people said on Nintendo's Twitter. Oh, sorry. A few people said on Nintendo's Twitter we've got some new screenshots. So let's go have a look, shall we? Right, Nintendo of America. Let's see what they've got. No, none on the Twitter. Whereabouts is it? Is it the eShop? Japanese Twitter. Okay. Let's have a look. And on the eShop. Ah, okay, yeah, there's loads here. Right, wait, let's try and get it so you can see this. Wait, let me just move chat. Okay, right. Yeah, okay, we got some new stuff. So there's the trailer, obviously. Character art of Tears of the Kingdom Link, which is brilliant. Doesn't have any of the little vials, which is interesting. But yeah, there he is with a new hand, and that does seem to be the classic Tears of the Kingdom pose. That's the same pose that the statue in Tokyo has, and the amiibo seems to be. So these screenshots are all from the trailer, Is that from the trailer? I don't recall if I went through that one. But that one is interesting because it's the older outfit that people have already pointed out. His hair's longer and he wears completely different clothes here. No, that's not from the trailer. Okay, yeah, that is new. Right. So obviously we've still got the same Sky Islands with the box Sky Island over here. The bow, I think, is new. I can't recall if we've seen that before. But yeah, that's just Link in his Sky Island outfit. Compatible with Amiibo. Oh, what does it do with Amiibo? Okay, alright, so you tap this, you get weapons and armor, and you get a special fabric for Link's paraglider. Okay, so it's probably like a cosmetic change to the paraglider. Oh, okay, all Zelda Amiibo either give you weapons or new paragliders. Okay, that's quite a cool way to implement them. Here we have the collector's edition. Okay, so you get the game, steel book with the carvings on it, which is interesting. A pin set. A pin set with the Sheikah, not Sheikah, with the Zonai glyphs. That's cool. An art book. Right, okay. That's very cool. Okay. So is there any other screenshots, or is that all we've got? Because there's a few people saying there's new screenshots. Gallery. What do you mean gallery? Was there? Did I miss something? Gallery. Oh, okay, yeah, I did miss stuff. Right. Okay, right, I missed loads. All right. So here's another shot of Link with this golem that's made out of boxes. There's not a whole lot we can say here, other than the design of the box does look very Zonai. And yeah, again, it's got this same glowing shoulder, which does make me think it's a weak spot, but who knows. Yeah, we got this. Oh wow, that's new. Okay. And okay, so here we got Link, broken Master Sword and all, skydiving over Sky Islands with one of these new temples, and a dragon. There it is. Here we go. So we thought from the last, was it last trailer? Yeah, we thought from the last trailer that were dragons. Here we are, and I don't think that's a dragon we've seen before. That doesn't look like Naydra to me. Wait, let me pull up a picture of Naydra. Naydra's the closest in colour. Naydra's the blue one. But yeah, wait. Let's pull up an image of. Here we go. Yeah, Naydra has a kind of a blue mane. Oh no, maybe that is Naydra. Yeah, but it's got this yellow stuff on it, which yeah. It could be Naydra. The colours are similar. It's got the same blue crystals. I mean, if it is Naydra, there's something going on with this yellow stuff on its head. So, you know, perhaps it's corrupted again. Naydra seems to have a bad time with things like that. But anyway, that's cool. We got dragons back for sure. Alright, here's a better shot of Link catching Zelda, which we've been through before. Ganondorf attacking, which is just awesome. Link riding through Hyrule. What's that? That's interesting. See. Yep, some. Okay, so there's a few things we didn't spot when it was in the trailer. Obviously, there's not only the new towers. You can also see tents, which obviously weren't present in Breath of the Wild. So, can't really comment on what that could be. looks a little bit too civilized to be monster camps. So who knows? Perhaps that's evidence of more settlements we'll get across Hyrule. Bro, it's Farosh. You think... Where is it? You think this dragon is Farosh? So Farosh looks like this. So Farosh is accented with yellow, like this. But Farosh lacks these kind of blue protrusions on the back and around the head, which this dragon has, which makes me think it's Naedra if it is any of the returning dragons. Although, like I mentioned, it does have some differences. Yeah, people saying, yeah, totally different, yeah. Different horns. Yeah, I think it looks like a different dragon. Okay, here Link on his brand new flying machine, which you saw from the trailer. Link on the car, which I can't get over. I think that's so cool. We thought the Master Cycle Zero was enough, but no, apparently not. So Link pulling the wheel out, Link in his hand, Link and Zelda, yeah, Link. Okay, that's something I didn't notice. So in this shot where we have Link taking on the luminous stone talus with this new Zonai weapon, we can see here on the base of the weapon a ring of green surrounding a yellow symbol, which is exactly the same as where is he? Can't find him now. As this, yeah. So we've seen that exact symbol before here on the golem creature in the Sky Islands. So here we've got this green ring with the yellow symbol with what looks like a broom, but I think is actually I think it's called a Suzu, which is a rope which rings a bell found in Shinto shrines in Japan. And ringing this bell, this off the top of my head, could be wrong. Ringing the bell is, symbolically summons the kami, which is a sort of spirit or god. And we see that exact same symbol here, which connects the two. It's a broom. Yeah, broom to go vroom. Yeah, sure. Another shot of this, of Link using motion controls. How did that open? Oh, okay. And yeah, we're seeing even more of these glyphs here. Again, but there's only 3 of them. So I think it will still be difficult to translate these. I don't yet know if we've got enough. What are people saying? So excited motion controls. Is that Sky Dungeon? It could be a Sky Dungeon, yeah. So we don't know what the Sky Islands are. We don't know whether they're going to work like shrines or if they're going to get bigger traditional Zelda dungeons in the sky. Link grinding down the rail, taking on this guy. That's a very cool image to have a good high resolution shot off. We've got Ganondorf. Yeah, there's not much else to say that we haven't talked about before regarding Ganondorf. The ears are round here, which is really interesting. Gerudo ears are usually depicted as pointed, but Ganondorf's ears have been round in the past. I believe it's Ocarina of Time, he's got round ears, whereas in the Wind Waker they're pointed. So here's Link with these new arms, which some people have pointed out. He's got a spool of wire in this, which could be some sort of hook shot. The new Moblins, paragliding over the Ceres Scablins. The new Hinox, new Bokoblin enemies. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a better look at this. So this is that new big Blin enemy thing, which, yeah, it could be a Bolin, it could be a yet unnamed relative to the Blins, but it's definitely in the same family. It's definitely got the same kind of pig-style features. And it wears a crown of bone on its head. Whether they're actual horns or whether that's something it's added itself, don't know. But yeah, that's very interesting. A Bokoblin boss. Yeah. Could be a boss. So here's Link riding the castle, and we get that strange vortex in the clouds in the background. More of the bokoblins spawning. Blood Moon. Here we go. This is what could be Gleeok on the bridge, which I mentioned at the start of the stream, which is a returning enemy from Zelda 1. It's a multi-headed dragon, much like a Hydra. And I've been saying ever since they confirmed Breath of the Wild was getting a sequel, I've been, desperate to see what old school Zelda enemies that they're going to reimagine for this, just like they did with the Lynel and the Hinox. And it seems they're doing Gleeok, which I'm so happy with. Okay. So this is an interesting one. So this is presumably underground. Because we can see in the background here, we can see stalactites. But it is a huge cave if this is underground. Big enough to make you think that it could be on the surface. But yeah, the stalactites do suggest that this is underground. So we see a group of enemies. Yeah, so they seem to be mining, which is interesting in itself. They also seem to be accented with red malice, suggesting they've been empowered by Ganon in some way. We can see different kind of horns on the Lizalfos again, just like the standard types of enemies from Breath of the Wild. All seem to have new horns now in Tears of the Kingdom. And yeah, chat pointed out here, over here we've got this, which are little flames, little blue flames that dance around, which is very, very similar to how spirits are often depicted in Zelda. So perhaps we'll be dealing with a literal underworld, a literal kind of land of the dead under Hyrule. More shots of these enemies who we seem to have dubbed Kargarok, but they could be anything. They could be any number of flying Zelda enemies, or they could be a new enemy entirely. And we're back around here. Right, people saying there are redeads yet. Right, Nintendo Japan Twitter got new art, did it? Let's have a look. We'll have a quick look at this, then I'll run through the super chats because I'm conscious that I haven't done that yet. And then we can have another look through the trailer. So people saying there's new artwork on here. I can't see any new artwork. New art on the Japan Twitter? Is it on the Japan Zelda Twitter? Let's have a look here. What's this about? That's Breath of the Wild DLC. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so we got new artwork of this. Of this big bokoblin boss that we were looking at. Okay, so it says bokoblin, we get 3 little ones. So, okay, I'm assuming that then this is a boss version of the bokoblins. So it wears a crown. The artwork just says bokoblin, and we have them gathering around it in a group, just like it was in the artwork, which I can't quite find where I put it. Okay, so that makes sense. So we might get boss variants of enemies, and if the bokoblin one is this huge, then I dread to think what the boss moblin or boss Lynel looks like. Right, okay, that's huge. Artwork of Zelda in her cave exploring outfit with the short hair and the torch, and she's got the Sheikah Slate. Okay, right. Very interesting, because obviously that's been completely absent from Tears of the Kingdom so far. But okay, we know that Zelda will use it in some capacity. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so this is Link in his new Sky outfit. The broken Master Sword on his back. Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. Right, what does this say anything? Link, the protagonist for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The appearance can be seen to change from the previous work, but what's happened? Okay. Oh yeah, I should probably be reading this. It's probably got interesting things. Princess of Hyrule Kingdom, you seem to have something unfamiliar on your left hand. So it's a Sheikah Slate. Is it the same Sheikah Slate? It does look different. It could be a different... Yeah, wait. Let me pull up. Yeah, it is a different design. So she seems to have a different Sheikah slate. Perhaps that's what the tweet's referring to. It's very interesting regardless though. What did it say about this, about the Bokoblin? Bokoblin, type of monster that lives in Hyrule. Among them, the heavyweight monsters that lead their minions are called Boss Bokoblin. Okay, right, yeah, there we go. Sorry, I should have translated that sooner. Okay, so we got boss variants of enemies. That's brilliant. Have we got any more artwork? Ah, okay, we can see the different gliders. Okay, so the Tears of the Kingdom Link amiibo gives you a Champion's Tunic glider. The Rider Link gives you one based on the design on the Hylian hood. Okay, that's cool. You get one based on the Skyward Sword sailcloth. If you scan the Skyward Sword amiibo. And that's just wicked. That's just so cool. So you get a Majora's Mask themed glider if you scan in the Young Link amiibo. Brilliant. And that might be us all caught up for now. Let me know in the chat if there's any other images or anything that I've missed. Because it's difficult when there's so many different places tweeting them out. Right, I'm just going to run through a couple of super chats. If I can find out how to do that. I haven't streamed on this in years. Okay, here you go. Right, Cliff Monkey says, Shroom Spores reference Nausicaa, robot symbol Gerudo, boss Coblin horn effect. The robot symbol Gerudo. What are you referring to there? Are you referring to this robot symbol? Or the new robot that we saw, the thing made out of stone blocks, which we saw here? Oh, I could see. Yeah, it is. It does look somewhat similar to the Gerudo symbol. Yeah, I could see that being the case. I don't think it is. I think this is more closely related to this new type of ancient architecture, but I can see what you mean about the Gerudo symbol. Thank you to... Sorry, that was from Chiff Monkey. Thank you to the super chat from Cat5617804. When you talk about the dragons, I'm thinking maybe Farosh, Nadra, and the other one that I can't remember its name, sorry, Dinral. When they enter the Sky Realm, they take on different forms. Very possible, yeah. Yeah, that could well be the case. Super chat from Polite Tia, thank you very much. That's really generous. And from Leonardo Arias, thank you so much. There is a way to get these super... I'm sorry for this. There is a way to get super chat up. Hold on. Right. Okay. Right. Sorry. Okay. I'm all caught up. Tale of Thorn. Thank you for the super chat. It says track name. I'm sorry. I must have missed that one. But the whole stream I have just been playing a playlist called Chill Zelda Music. Death Mountain seems like the Malice color than lava. Yep, we saw that before in a few previous trailers. Death Mountain here seems to have Malice coming out the top, which obviously doesn't say anything good about what's happening underground in Hyrule. Yeah, can't wait to see. Right. As far as how you get to the Sky Island, yep, could well be the case. From Jake Kazaza, thank you. Zelda 1 boss on Lake Bridge, Spicy Eye. Yep, we had a look at that. That could well be Gleok, which is a returning enemy from Zelda 1, if it is the case. Oh my god, is that a Zonai Swirl? Says Panicked. Yes, it's always a Zonai Swirl. Enderroll Gamer says, love the content, thank you very much for that. Carl Morgan. I think I saw Link holding Hylia's hand. Yeah. So we don't know who this figure is. It could well be Hylia. It could be Zelda. It could be someone else entirely. If you saw my most recent Tears of the Kingdom theory, you'll know that I think it could be Hylia. I think that's a sensible bet, which is just fascinating. If that is Hylia, it means I'm so excited for the story, if that is the case. Thank you for the super chat. I can't pronounce your name, I'm sorry, but thank you for always making great content. Thank you very much. Bread Pirate, thank you for the super chat. Good luck with the stream. Thank you, mate. Tropic Network, thank you so much. Neil J, Zelda Podcast, Brythe Kaltaris, thank you so much. Brythe says, pretty sure the green swells are surrounding shrines. The shape of the thing it's surrounding, as well as the locations of them, seem like shrines. Yeah, potentially. So what the green spirals are, yeah, is very, very up in the air at the moment. Got them down here. Here we go. So we can't quite make out what they are. They do seem to be surrounding little spires of rock, and this one here is obviously right next to a fallen sky island chunk. So there's definitely a connection there, but yeah, we're not quite sure what they are. Thank you again to Super Chats from Ocarina Hero 93. He says he was disappointed with the trailer, not to be pessimistic, was hopeful for the game, looks too similar to Breath of the Wild like a story DLC. I would have agreed with you for previous trailers, but I think there's a substantial amount of new content here. I think we'll have to wait to see gameplay and wait to see the game in its complete state when it's not kind of cherry-picked details and little deliberately mysterious shots. When we've all seen it together, I'm confident it'll look like a lot more than DLC, I'm sure. Austin John, thank you. Cheers, mate. I did, yes, thank you. I owe you a drink. Kira 2020. Monda Life 1979, Sarah Evans, Haname YT, Dreamcloud, William Martin, Dreamcloud again, Tyler Del Salvatore. The stick he used to attack Rock Golem keeps showing up in the trailer. The stick at the end of the cannon, Link is using the stick to steer the car, the same for the flying thing at the end. Okay. So, this is from the super chat from Tyler De Salvador, who says, where's the shot of him firing the golem? So, do you mean this golem? Where has he gone? Oh, here, yeah. So you're saying he uses a stick here. He's got a rusted sword there. Oh, Rock Golem. Oh, sorry, I understand. That is a good point. Okay. So what Tyler is pointing out is when we get this shot, we get the shot underground of Link fighting the Talus. You know what, I'm just going to find the screenshot. It's going to be easier. Here. He's pointed out here, this mad Zonai cannon thing is attached to a little staff that Link is holding. And he says it keeps showing up in the trailer. Stick at the end of the cannon, Link is using the stick to steer the car. So we've got that stick there. And where's the car? Here. So he says you can see Link using the stick to steer the car. It's definitely similar. I'm not 100% sure that it's I'm not 100% sure that it's the same stick. But it's definitely the same design. Clint Summers thinks and hopes Zelda will be playable as well. I mean, with this, with her having the Sheikah Slate, I mean, that adds a bit more credibility to that. Dreamcloud says Epona. Chat, has there been Epona? Has there been anything about Epona? Obviously, Epona did appear in Breath of the Wild, but only through Amiibo. Tale of Thorn. Sounds like Ganon's Tower backwards and slower. Okay, oh, we'll have another look at the reverse audio in a bit. Yes, the horse in the trailer. People are saying the horse in the trailer is Epona. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's Epona. Okay, that's cool. Hopefully, then, she'll play some kind of a story role in Tears of the Kingdom, then, because I really didn't like, in Breath of the Wild, she was locked behind an amiibo. And it's so unceremonious, you just scan the amiibo, she spawns in. Whereas, if you think of getting Epona in Ocarina of Time, it's one of the most legendary moments in gaming. And even Twilight Princess as well, that Epona and Ilia is always a highlight. So it really was a shame in Breath of the Wild. So yeah, maybe she'll play more of a story role in this, which would be interesting. Maybe it's past Link, says Daniel Gutierrez. Thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe this Link is Link in the past. Yep, that's what a few people have suggested now, is that this takes place in the past. Any shot where we see Link looking like this could take place in the past, and we could have some sort of time travel. This sounds like it could work. There's a couple things that might disprove it, though, such as this shot here in E3 2021, where we have Link in this same ancient gear, and he's looking out over Hyrule. But the thing is, if we zoom right in here, and we might need to faff around with the brightness and contrast. Yeah, if we go here, we can see oh, perhaps you can only see him on the screenshot version. Hold on a second, there is a... Oh wait, I'll pull it up in a minute. Either way, you can see down here the Tabantha windmills. So if this is in the distant past, it means that the Tabantha windmills are really, really, really old. Could be the case, but I think it's probably more sensible that they still take place in the present. Although, I don't know. It could be, yeah. Lux Pro, thank you so much for the super chat. Looks like weapon and vehicle crafting. The new bomb tosser and the flame-throwing shield from the earlier trailer are both player creations. Right, yeah. So, we've obviously got the ability to build vehicles, because we see Link pull a wheel out of the bog and build some kind of car and a flying machine. But then we also see this, which Lux Pro suggests this could be a player-crafted item. So we might be able to cobble together different ancient bits and build our own weapons and vehicles, which is amazing if true, and it's something I definitely want to see more of. 100% Zelda, thank you for the super chat. I think we're caught up for the minute on super chats. Yeah, although we can catch up again in a minute. Right, chat, let me know, is there anything else we've missed? So we've been through the main trailer, we found this gallery, there's the Nintendo Japan screenshots and artwork. What is the thing on the bridge? So we've talked about this a little bit. We think this could be Gleeok. Gleeok being here. So this is Gleeok. Really old Zelda boss from Zelda 1. There you go. Multi-headed dragon. And just like we saw the Hinox and the Lionel, this could be a reimagined version of that. Bright Pool Gamer spamming King Dodongo. Can we see King Dodongo, or you just like saying King Dodongo? Feels very Twilight Princess-ish. It does. It really does. Yeah. Look, Bobo says, look at her dress. She has tears on it. So I assume by look at her dress, you mean this mysterious character that we think could be Hylia. Here we go. Ah, yeah, you're right. That's a good catch. So hanging from her dress, I did not mean to rotate her. So hanging from her dress, we've got these little symbols, which obviously are very similar to these up here. These little Magatama symbols, which also surround this character in this shot here. You see, we have 7 of them surrounding it here. And later on, we see on her kind of necklace the same symbol. Wait. Here we go, yeah. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 there. And a similar eye symbol to Link's new shield. Yeah, it's very interesting. That's got to be Hylia. Is that what people are saying? Yeah. Yeah. It could well be Hylia. Which, if it is, there's so much that the story could do. Obviously, the most recent theory video I put up was talking about if Hylia does appear in the game and we see a connection between Hylia and Zelda, like the Ouroboros symbol suggests, perhaps Zelda becomes Hylia, who becomes Zelda, who becomes Hylia, then that would affect the whole timeline, right? It would change what we know about Hylia and her connection to Zelda, perhaps causing Tears of the Kingdom to lead into Skyward Sword. Although it's all just speculation at this point. Put on slow mode, please. Yeah, that might be for the best. I'll give it a minute. Celtic, there's a bokoblin holding a crude axe being held by a flying reptile. Yeah. Time loop, yeah. Right. Okay. So I don't think we've missed anything so far. I think the spam of new information is done. I think we've just got this trailer. We've got the screenshots from the Japanese Twitter. And we've got the gallery on the eShop. I think that's everything. So I think we might be about done for now. Let's just check I haven't missed any more super chats. I've missed a few more. Right, okay. Let's catch up with the super chats. Then I think we'll call this the end of the stream. And I'll have a look at putting up a proper analysis. Let's properly comb through this when I'm not on stream and see what details we can find and try and put together an analysis video. Right, so we've got Jason with the super chat. Could the fact that there are 7 of those symbols be some sort of reference to the 7 sages from Link Between Worlds? Could well be the case, yeah. So we've seen groups of 7 sages all throughout Zelda. So in Ocarina of Time, obviously, it was the 6 sages. But Zelda represents the 7th. So 7 is always a sacred number in Zelda. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Tears of the Kingdom are somehow related to that. Dwayne Sepkick, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm really sorry if I butchered your name. People saying that, right, yeah, I'll try and get an analysis video out as soon as I can, yeah. Chiff Monkey, I missed your main super chat, a lot of info. Oh, I'm really sorry. Right, let me check that out. What did you say? Intro Stormhead, Shroom Ruin, Hateno Sparkling, Explosion is red version of Zelda unlocking power, Moblin with shield, Bokoblin with Claymore, Bokoblin's possession like Skeletal Zombies, Gyro Goron Ruby, Zelda Key Art Slate. Right, you're not wrong. That's a lot of information. Thank you so much for the super chat. Right, so Shroom Ruin. I assume you're talking about this. Perhaps that could be the stem of a mushroom. Is that what you're on about? Because, yeah, we've got Moblin with the shield, Bokoblin with the claymore. Yep, we've got a few different enemy types with different weapons now. Bokoblin possession like Skyward Sword. Now, what do you mean by that? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you mean by the Bokoblin possession like Skyward Sword zombies. You mean like the cursed Bokoblins in Skyward Sword, right? Okay. Neve Enlo, thank you for the super chat. Bokoblin boss reminds you a lot of the Great Moblin from the Oracle games. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Maybe there's a reason they're releasing the Game Boy games now. Yeah, very possible. Despils, thank you for the super chat, says, could the main antagonist be Demise since Ganon has given up on reincarnation? Link back to Skyward Sword. Like I said earlier, I think there could well be connections to Demise, especially if we're interacting with the ancient past in some way. I think, and time loops and all that. I think that would make sense. The line about Ganon giving up on reincarnation is it's a mistranslation really from the English version of Breath of the Wild. When Dark Beast Ganon appears, Zelda says he's given up on reincarnation and he's formed this terrible form or something along those lines. But in the original Japanese, I don't know, off the top of my head, it says something like out of desperate attempt to reincarnate rather than he's given up on reincarnation. So I don't think Ganondorf has or ever will give up on reincarnating. Tavi Jacobson, thank you for super chat. The book and the pictures on the collector's edition. Yes, I will comb through the collector's edition. Thank you. Giovanni Ragazzi says, what about the reversed audio voice at the end? We had a look at that at the start and a little bit later on. And there is what sounds like reversed audio in the trailer, but it sounds a lot like the reversed audio we saw in other trailers, like in the first trailer and also in the E3 2021 trailer, which, yeah, it does sound like it, but it's very hard to make something out. I think perhaps someone cleverer than me will be able to, de-garble it with some software potentially. But yeah, right now I'm not too sure about that. Overzell says he has the marks on his arm before the green magic. Yes, so we've seen this shot here. Where we can see Link already has the marks on his arm. His arm already seems to be damaged, which is before he has this green glowing magic. The Legend NJF, thank you for the super chat, says, flying things look like Georg from Minish Cap. They do. The Georg from the Minish Cap was a boss of the Palace of the Winds, and they were kind of giant flying manta rays. Hope Mullinax says, can it be Zelda from 10,000 years ago and it's a memory? Present Link in the following shot is looking at his hand like he came out of a memory. Okay. That is an interesting interpretation. So, what he's saying here is this shot of the mysterious woman who we're saying could be Hylia, could be someone else, holds out a hand, Link grabs her hand, and then, yeah, it immediately cuts to him looking at his hand like he's come out of a memory, which, yeah, I could see that. I could see that being the case. That's a completely valid interpretation of it, I think. Please check the Japanese Zelda website. Right, okay, are we missing anything? Is there anything new? Is this it? Tears of the Kingdom. Okay. Oh, okay, we get a good look at the sim. Oh, wow. Okay. Right, well, thank you for telling me to check this out. There's new stuff. Yeah, okay, Link still... Alright, this is the same. This is all in the trailer. That's, I think, extended from the trailer. Oh, okay. We need to comb through this then. There's... Yeah, some of these shots are a lot longer. Okay, alright. And I think this shot here is entirely new. Okay. And I think the only thing on the website is... Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's except for that new little couple of clips, it's just stuff that they posted on the Twitter. It is a little longer, yep. Alex2256, thank you for the super chat, says Great Deku Tree gets killed with malice in the trailer. Well, the Deku Tree is missing, yeah. I'm not sure if we saw it being killed with malice, although I could well have missed that. Artemis Bot, thank you for the super chat, says, what if it's like Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass, where there's a central tower you have to build and return to, the Skyladder Islands? Yeah, okay, I could see that. Especially with all the building that we're seeing in the game. You can build a car, you can build a sort of projectile weapon. It would make sense if he has to build towers into the sky. Yeah, that's a really cool idea. Danny S in the super chat says, the emblem on the very end of this character's chest piece looks like the head of the robot from the Sky Islands. Yeah, okay, yeah. So we pointed out that earlier, that there's the same symbol repeating twice now. Ray Uchicha says, where are the divine beasts? Yeah, we don't know. All the Sheikah tech seems to be gone, with the exception of that very brief bit in what we assumed could be one of the new towers. This bit here. Yeah. Yep. Maybe it's past link, and this is from Daniel Guterres. Thank you. Maybe the past link looks different. Okay. He's suggesting that perhaps the green hand is the spirit of a previous link, and he's helping his subsequent reincarnation, which could well be the case. Tim, thank you for the super chat, says kinda sounds like Help Us Link, in my opinion. I assume that's talking about the reversed audio, which we had a look at. I think I'll have a proper look at that later. But yeah, like I said, I think I'll probably call the stream here, so I can comb through this properly and kind of take my time to digest this and get an analysis video up. This stream's been really, really great. Thank you all so much for coming out. I will leave this VOD up, because I know some people like long-form analysis content, even if it's just, you know, first impressions right after the trailer drops. But thank you all so much for coming out. It's been a lot of fun. I haven't live streamed properly in years and years and years. It's something I don't really like doing. I find it quite stressful, but still, just turning it on and interacting with the chat has been really great. It's been really nice to talk to you and break down a new Tears of the Kingdom trailer. So yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. Huge thank you especially to everyone who donated through super chats. I'm pretty sure I read out all the messages. If I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. Yeah, right. Let's start working on the analysis. Yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you next time.